Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect. My name is Pete and today we complete the return to the Citadel after the events on Virmire. Our trip to Virmire ended with a confrontation with Saren, where it became quite clear that Saren is very likely already indoctrinated himself. We also had to make the very tough choice of sacrificing one of our squad members, and we chose in favor of Kaidan and sacrificed Ashley. Now we have to deal with the aftermath of the mission, and let's start things off with a short conversation with Joker.
Commander, I know it couldn't have been easy for you down there. Making the call between Alenko and Williams must have been... I'm sorry, sir, I don't know if I could have done it.
Well, with a bit of luck you will never have to make a call like this.
There is no right choice for something like that. I just hope I never have to go through it again.
No, I'm not blaming you, Commander, it's hard, you know?
And Joker seems a bit shaken here, so let's try to get him back on track.
Saren's still out there, Joker. Hold it together. We need you.
Don't worry, I won't let you down. I want to be there when you make that son of a bitch pay.
Alright, one conversation down, a few more still to go, as is the case after every major mission in the game. And up next we are going to talk to Kaidan, who was already quite vocal about our decision in the last episode, questioning why we saved him over Ashley. We can only hope that in the meantime he has cooled off a bit, although I have to admit, being in his position is likely not easy right now.
Anything you need, Commander?
Now, before we confront him with Ashley's death and his survival, let's ask about the last mission in general. We shouldn't be too hard on him at the moment.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Input? Hell, I don't know. We're fighting giant machines from outside the galaxy. Should I be afraid of them? Or in awe of them? Anything so old, so intelligent.
Well, age and intelligence certainly makes you hard to beat, but not completely undefeatable.
We may be ants to them, but humans have never managed to exterminate ants.
It makes you wonder, are ants any more aware than we were of the giants that walk over their heads?
A good point he brings up here, a point that we are not going to engage any further with. Instead, let us now dive into a more sensitive topic.
I wanted to see how you're dealing with Ash's death.
Dealing, sir. Sorry for anything I said back there. Adrenaline.
I think in a situation like this, there is really no need to apologize.
I don't like losing people either, Alenko.
I've served for years, but never lost a soldier under my command. Not to hostile action, anyway. If you don't mind my asking, how did you deal with the losses on Akuz?
Now, of course, we don't really know how Shepard dealt with that, but maybe we can be somewhat inspiring here.
It was my job to get everyone out safe. I failed. I vowed not to let that happen again. Same here. I'll remember her, and I'll do better for her.
Yeah, I guess that's all we can do. Thanks for the advice, sir.
No problem. On to the next conversation.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Right, up next is Liara, who, despite her role in the reveal that Ilos is our next destination, actually does not have that much to say after Virmire.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
Now, this first bit of the conversation is already familiar. She has asked that question before after the first time we merged our minds, and so this time we're going with the honest approach. No, we're really not.
I just want to talk.
Of course. I've been thinking about Saren. I actually feel a little sorry for him now.
While I see what she means, with Saren realizing that he's slowly being indoctrinated, the guy was a scumbag even before that.
He's no innocent victim. He was a ruthless bastard long before he fell under Sovereign's control.
I know his reputation, but he was a Spectre. I think he honestly believed everything he did was for the greater good. I wonder how he first fell into Sovereign's trap. Did he think he could somehow stop the Reapers from returning? Or was he simply driven by a lust for power and glory?
Well, actually, I think that originally he had the honest intention of stopping the Reapers. At this point, though, a former noble cause doesn't really matter.
Whatever Saren's reasons may have been, they're long gone now. He has to be stopped.
Yes, I suppose you're right. He may be Sovereign's victim, but he is also a threat to all life as we know it. Let's not spend every free minute talking about Saren. It is bad enough we are chasing him across the galaxy.
Well, I agree with that, and since there's not much more to talk about, let's leave Liara be for the moment.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Alright, now we have an interesting pair of conversations coming up, as the next two persons we are going to talk to are Captain Kirahi and Commander Rantola. So despite Ashley's death, the Salarians that were with her actually survived, which I have to be honest is a bit strange. In terms of the mechanics at play here, Kirahi's survival is tied to how well we support his approach during the assault on Saren's base, while Ashley's survival depends exclusively on the decision between her and Kaidan. And that way, as you can see, it is possible to have Ashley die, while Kirahi and his squad are still alive and well.
It was an honor working with you, Commander Shepard. Despite the losses, our mission was a success. My superiors will duly honor Chief Williams for her actions. Her sacrifice has earned humanity a great deal of respect from my people.
Now, we could be the asshole here and tell him that his words won't bring Ashley back, but at this point I think we should simply be thankful for his respect and of course for Ashley's sacrifice.
Ash was a hell of a soldier. She knew what the risks were, but she did what she had to.
Of course. The grim reality that every soldier must accept. Rest assured, Commander, my men and I will not forget what you have accomplished here. We will leave your ship as soon as you reach your next destination. Perhaps we will have the opportunity to work together again someday.
Up next we have Commander Rentola, and let's also have a quick conversation with him.
You have my gratitude, Commander. Most people would have left our team behind. The captain considers the mission a success. I defer to his judgment.
Very important here, if you did not grab the Amali Council license from either Nasana Dantius or from Rentola himself on Virmire, then this right here is the last opportunity in the game to do so, as the Salarian squad will leave for good once we reach the Citadel. Since we did buy the license on Virmire, we can leave Rentola be though.
Glad I could help.
Good luck, Commander Shepard.
Commander, things got heated back on Virmire. You did what you had to do. I respect your choice.
And with Rex, I think it's a good idea to not stir anything up again, so let's be friendly here. I think he has earned it.
I appreciate what you did, Rex. I won't forget it.
Just make sure it was worth it. Saren has to pay for what he's done.
Right here we will go for the slightly more aggressive answer, as that is the approach that Rex will respond best to.
No matter what it takes, I'm gonna hunt him down and kill him.
I like the sound of that.
Now, despite the confrontation we had on Virmire, there are no new options under Investigate, so we can also say goodbye to Rex and then move on.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Right, now we haven't talked to either Garrus and Tali, and that is simply because none of them has anything new to say. And that means we have nothing else to do here on the Normandy and can now push the main storyline forward, and we can do so by activating the galaxy map.
I forwarded the mission update to the Citadel, Commander. We got confirmation on those reinforcements. Ambassador Udina wants us to report back to the Citadel. The Council's massing a joint species fleet to deal with Saren and his geth.
And yes, I would say that was about time.
Took them long enough. Back to the Citadel, Joker. I want the Normandy at the head of that fleet.
Yes, sir.
Good job, Shepard. Thanks to you, the Council's finally taking real action against Saren.
The Ambassador is correct. If Saren is foolish enough to attack the Citadel, as you believe, we will be ready for him.
Patrols are stationed at every mass relay linking Citadel space to the Terminus systems.
And here we realize that the joint species fleet is not much more than patrols, leaving the planet of Ilos completely uncovered.
You think a blockade's going to stop him? He's on Ilos looking for the Conduit right now. What are you doing about that?
Ilos is only accessible to the Mu relay, deep inside the Terminus systems, Commander. If we send a fleet in there, the only possible outcome is full-scale war.
Now is the time for discretion, Commander. Saren's greatest weapon was secrecy. Exposed, he is no longer a threat. This is over.
And I think by now we should have established that there are far more important and also far more dangerous things than only Saren's secrecy.
Secrecy isn't his greatest weapon, the Conduit is.
Saren is a master manipulator. The Conduit is just a distraction from his real plan to attack the Citadel.
And we already have reasons enough to be frustrated with the Council's approach, and we haven't even talked about the Reapers yet.
Sovereign's the real threat. Saren's just a servant of the Reapers.
Only you have seen the Reapers, and then only in visions. We won't invade the Terminus systems because of a dream.
And while I can understand that this is a sensitive diplomatic topic, you could just send us. Just like you did in the previous 65 episodes.
One ship going into the Terminus systems won't start a war. I can be discreet.
You detonated a nuclear device on Virmire. I wouldn't call that discreet.
Your style served you well in the Traverse, Commander. We recognize that. But Ilos requires a deft touch. We have the situation under control.
Well, at this point I have to respectfully disagree.
If Saren finds the Conduit, we're all screwed. We have to go to Ilos.
Ambassador Udina, I get the sense Commander Shepard isn't willing to let this go.
There are serious political implications here, Shepard. Humanity's made great gains thanks to you, but now you're becoming more trouble than you're worth.
You bastard! You're selling us out!
It's just politics, Commander. You've done your job, now let me do mine. We've locked out all the Normandy's primary systems until further notice you're grounded.
Now, no matter what we say, Udina won't change his mind, and so we might as well get 2 renegade points out of it.
Nobody stabs me in the back, Udina. Nobody.
I think it's time for you and your team to leave, Commander. This no longer concerns you. The Council can handle this, with my help, of course.
Commander. Shepard, I cannot believe they did this to you. I am so sorry.
Now, this scene right here plays out differently depending on who your romance option is. In our case, that's Liara, and so we can vent about the Council to her.
I showed them the truth and they still won't believe.
It's not right. You did everything they asked and more. Nobody else could have done what you did. The Council owes you everything, everything. Instead, they strip you of your command and ground the Normandy.
And to be fair to the Council, the whole grounding thing wouldn't even be that bad if they had actually decided to take the real threat seriously.
I don't care if they ground me, but they refuse to go after Saren. If they don't stop him from finding the Conduit, we're all dead.
Perhaps we could appeal and get them to reverse their decision.
And while I'm not an expert on politics, I think the decision we just witnessed doesn't seem to be easily appealed.
I pushed them as hard as I could. They wouldn't budge.
So you're going to walk away? You will just give up and doom the entire galaxy to extinction?
Well, not exactly the plan, and while time isn't exactly on our side, we might need a moment or two to figure something out.
We're out of the game for now, but I'll find a way back in.
I believe in you, Shepard. I am with you every step of the way.
Sorry to interrupt, Commander. Got a message from Captain Anderson.
Well, Joker, way to ruin the moment. And yes, we will scold him for that. We will receive Anderson's message either way.
Are you spying on us, Joker?
No, sir. Just knew you were on the ship and figured I'd pass the message on. The captain said to meet him at Flux, that club down in the wards.
You should probably go meet with him.
Alright, time to finally move out, and we will take Rex and Garrus with us. To be honest, it is not particularly important who we bring, but Garrus hasn't seen a lot of action, and Rex and Shepard could use some bonding time.
Equalizing interior pressure with exterior atmosphere. Logged. The commanding officer is ashore. Exo Presley has the deck.
Now, we won't head into the Flux to meet with Anderson straight away, as there are 2 more assignments that have now unlocked after completing Virmire. I will, however, speed the journey up a bit, that is after we have listened to this elevator newscast.
In a further development in the Eden Prime investigation, the Council has reportedly revoked the Spectre status of one of its operatives. While the unnamed operative has not yet been apprehended, a Council spokesman confirmed that corrective actions had been taken.
Alright, welcome back to the upper wards, where in a few seconds we will be approached by a rather outspoken personality.
Excuse me, you're the Spectre, right? Commander Shepard, it is an honor to speak with you.
And so begins the Our Own Worst Enemy assignment, an assignment that will take place entirely within this short conversation.
You obviously wanted to speak with me.
I'm Charles Saracino of the Terra Firma Party. With Armistice Day coming soon, we're making our voices heard by the alien appeasers on the Presidium. Can I count on your support in the next election?
Now, as a bit of background information, Armistice Day commemorates the first contact war between the humans and Turians, and the confrontational nature of the event being remembered already tells us a bit about the political goals of this party.
You're marking the end of the first contact war with a protest?
As we have every year for the last 26 years. The war taught humanity a lesson that some would forget. If we don't stand up for ourselves, no one else will.
Interesting here is that we have no option to agree with him. We can only stay silent or tell Mr. Saracino that maybe he has learned the wrong lesson.
I thought the lesson of the first contact war was that there's other life in the galaxy, and they have opinions too.
Perhaps so, Commander. But if aliens feel free to express their opinions at gunpoint, why shouldn't we?
Because they have bigger guns?
If they have bigger guns, we should increase military spending. Instead, we sign away our right to defend ourselves with treaties.
I like the way you think.
Now that we have already established that the opinions of Mr. Saracino and Commander Shepard might not exactly be compatible, let's learn a bit more about the election itself.
What are you running for?
I'm seeking one of the 5 spacer seats in Parliament. They have certain baroque conditions for a citizen to be able to vote for them. You have to spend more than 6 months a year in space, but you can't have stayed in any one settled system for more than a month. You do spend most of your time in space, Commander.
And the last thing we ask him about is the Terra Firma Party, which will also give us another codex entry.
I don't know Terra Firma's platform. What do you stand for?
Our core value is that Earth must stand firm against alien influences. Politically, culturally, and in the worst case, militarily.
Glad to see some humans growing a backbone.
Excuse me, I don't believe human politics are any of your business.
My business is whatever I say it is.
Now, it's interesting to see Rex agree here. Although the Krogan definitely have not received that much support from other races, still the story is a different one for the humans, and so we can once again disagree.
We live in this galaxy, Mr. Saracino. We can't pretend that what we do affects no one else.
No, of course not. My apologies. I only meant to point out that other species have no right to interfere in alliance politics.
Now, as you can see, the whole conversation basically leads towards making one of two decisions, either in favor or against his anti-alien policy. And so far, his points don't really convince me.
Sorry, I believe we need to work peacefully with other races.
We've heard that before in human history. Well-meaning naivete leads to declarations of peace in our time. We can't allow anything like Shan-Shi to happen again. I don't suppose I could convince you to issue a public statement of support for my candidacy. The support of the first human Spectre would be invaluable.
Now, before we make a decision here, let's quickly revisit the point he made regarding Shang-Chi.
The occupation of Shan-Shi couldn't happen again. We weren't even sure there were aliens to garrison against back then.
It's still a powerful symbol, Commander. Shan-Shi is the only human territory ever occupied by an alien species.
Now, decision time, and like I said before, this is what the whole conversation builds up to, and there are morality points to be had for our decision here, 2 renegade points for supporting him, and 2 paragon points for declining to do so. There is also a morality point free way out of this conversation. That one would require us to take the I can't support you option, but so far Shepard has taken a firm stand against Saracino, so let's continue to do so and grab the 2 paragon points.
You have the right to your opinion, Mr. Saracino, but with all due respect, I disagree with it.
I understand. I'm glad you support the democratic process, at least. Thank you for your time, Commander. Remember Terra Firma on Election Day, because Terra Firma remembers you.
Alright, 2 paragon points earned, codex entry unlocked, on to the next assignment. Before we can talk to Captain Anderson in the flux bar, there will be one more person interrupting us, which will trigger the once again very short Negotiator's request assignment.
Soldier, I've got a major situation, and I need help from somebody with humanity's interests at heart.
Now, I imagine after his conversation with the Council, Shepard is not in a great mood to begin with, and since this is now the second time we're being interrupted, let's be a bit more straightforward here.
It's Commander, actually. What do you want?
Of course, right to business. That's why humanity has the best damn fleet in the galaxy. My name is Elias Keeler. I'm an Alliance Negotiator. We've got a big session coming up with the Solarians. You wouldn't believe what's riding on this. I'm fighting for humanity on this one, just like you are.
And once again, there is obviously something Mr. Keeler wants from us, so let's press him to cut to the chase.
Don't try to sell me on this. Just tell me what you want.
I need you to buy a mental stimulant for me. It's legal, but restricted. I've purchased the monthly limit, and I need more from the medbay.
Well, that is a somewhat unusual request, and I think before we make a decision here, let's acquire a bit more information.
What is this stimulant exactly?
Oh, I don't know the medical terms, but it increases mental capacity, short-term recall, that sort of thing. It helps me stay focused, and it keeps me sharp. Nothing gets by me when I'm on it.
And the obvious question at hand here is, of course, why he would feel the pressing need to go over the monthly limit, because I would assume that the limit exists for a reason.
If you know the monthly limits, why did you go over them?
The negotiations were supposed to be last week, but the Salarians stalled it, probably deliberately. If I don't get the stimulant, I'll be a wreck. My assistant will take over, and that would be a disaster.
And here we can rightfully tell him to have a bit of faith in his assistant. After all, there was a reason he became assistant in the first place.
You should put some trust in your assistant. Didn't you train him?
My assistant wants to bend over backwards for the Citadel races. He wants to show them we're reasonable. No race will respect us until we show them who's in charge. That's what it took with the Turians. Yeah, forget my assistant.
Now we can once again investigate and ask about the negotiation itself, which will for some reason repeat the second half of the dialogue from earlier.
Why is this deal so important?
The Solarians want to set up long-term trade agreements. There are billions of credits at stake. If I don't get the drug, my assistant will take over and mess up the whole deal. It would be a disaster.
Now, since we just told him to have a bit of faith, let's take a different approach this time, which will, however, result in a very similar answer.
Is your assistant incompetent or just inexperienced?
Worse, he's an alien sympathizer. My assistant wants to bend over backwards for the Citadel races. He wants to show them we're reasonable. No race will respect us until we show them who's in charge. That's what it took with the Turians. Yeah, forget my assistant.
Now, there are several ways to go about this. One of them mentions the fact that he might have a slight rock problem, and that is honestly something that might be a real possibility here.
Keeler, you've got a problem. You need to get treatment.
It might look that way from the outside, but this is just a one-time slip-up. All the top negotiators are on stimulants close to the legal limit. It's the way the game is played.
And now we can talk about how to handle this assignment. First of all, we could simply talk him out of getting the drug. This will either result in 8 Paragon or 2 Renegade points, depending on the dialogue option we choose, and will convince him to get treatment and let his assistant take over. However, there are 2 other ways to complete the assignment, and one of them is a bit more entertaining and in terms of the Renegade points we receive, also a lot more rewarding. But to solve the assignment that way, we first need to agree to help.
I'll see what I can do, but I can't guarantee anything.
I understand. I'll pay you back for it, and I can even throw in a little extra. Thanks for your help. Like I said, you can find the stimulant over in the medbay.
Now, the medbay and the woman who runs it are of course familiar to us already, so let's make a quick trip over to Dr. Michelle. Now, I want to solve this assignment by actually giving Keeler something. However, that something might not necessarily be the stimulant he was looking for.
Yes, Commander. Is there something I can do for you?
No time for small talk, let's go straight to what Dr. Michelle has to offer.
Let me take a look at what you have for sale.
Of course.
And here we can see that not only does she offer the mental stimulant, but also a depressant. And for 80 credits, that depressant is exactly what we're going to buy. And now, let's return to Keeler. Had we bought the stimulant he asked for, then we could now give that to him, earn ourselves 2 Paragon points, and have him conduct the negotiations. Those negotiations would then result in a favorable outcome for the Alliance, although leaving the Solarians complaining and potentially hurting future negotiations between the 2 sides. Instead, we can now return to Keeler and give him the depressant and see what happens.
Any luck getting what I asked for?
Here, this should take care of all your problems.
Perfect. The Solarians will never see me coming. Here, this is for your trouble. What is... This isn't the stimulant. What did you give me?
Now, it is not actually revealed in the conversation that Keeler is in fact an addict, but it is heavily suggested, and if we had talked him out of it, that would have actually confirmed that he has a drug problem. So in some sense, this decision here is for his own good.
You're an addict and a bigot. Your assistant will do a better job. You need to get help.
You bastard! You set me up, alien-loving scum.
Alright, our decision just earned us 9 renegade points, and instead of Keeler, his assistant will now take care of the negotiations. There will be an elevator newscast later telling us how that went, but before we can listen to that, let's finally have the chat with Captain Anderson that we came for.
I'm glad you came, Shepard. I heard what happened.
And yes, there are some similarities between what happened to Shepard earlier and what happened to Anderson at the beginning of the game.
They pulled me off the mission, just like when they forced you to give up the Normandy.
I know, I'm sorry. I wanted to warn you, but there was no way to get a message to you before you docked. I know you're pissed off right now, but you can't give up. They all think this is over, but we both know it's not. You have to go to Ilos. You have to stop Saren from using the Conduit.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree. There is only the small problem of us not having a ship.
There's only one ship that can get me into the Terminus systems undetected, and she's grounded.
Citadel controls locked out all the Normandy's systems, but if we override the Ambassador's orders, we can get them to bring the Normandy back online. You can be in the Terminus systems before anyone even knows you're gone.
And I suppose you won't be on board when we steal the Normandy, so what exactly is going to happen to you?
If we steal the Normandy, you're the one left holding the bag.
And if Saren finds the Conduit, life as we know it is over. The Reapers will destroy us. Humans, Asari, everybody. You're the only one who can stop him, Shepard. So I'll do whatever it takes to get you on the Normandy and off this station.
Fair point. There is still the matter of the crew, though.
Stealing the Normandy is mutiny. What if the crew won't help me?
The Normandy's your ship now, Commander. Her crew will follow you to the ends of the galaxy. We both know that.
Well, I suppose we both do. So, what's the plan?
What's the plan?
I can unlock the Normandy from one of the consoles in the Citadel Control Center. You'll have a few minutes before anyone realizes what happened.
That's a restricted area patrolled by armed guards. How are you going to get in?
Leave that to me. Just make sure you're in the Normandy when the systems come back online.
Yeah, that doesn't exactly sound like a risk-free approach. Can you maybe think of another way?
You're gonna get yourself killed. There has to be another way.
Ambassador Udina issued the lockdown order. If I can hack into the computer in his office, maybe I can override it.
He won't just stand by while you use his computer.
Hopefully he won't be there. If he is, I'll just have to think of something.
The Ambassador won't forgive this, Captain. You'll be charged with treason, a capital offense.
We don't have a lot of options. I break into the Ambassador's computer, or I take my chances with the patrols in Citadel Control.
Alright, now while the result of this decision will ultimately be the same, the decision itself still wasn't easy for me to make. The two decisions will result in 2 different cutscenes, and both of those cutscenes definitely add to the story, both in their own ways. In the end though, I let Anderson himself decide, which will now lead to the cutscene that is, at least in my opinion, definitely the more entertaining one.
It's your call, Captain.
I'll break into the Ambassador's office. He made this personal. You ready to get the hell off this station, Commander?
And yes, we're ready to get going. There is nothing more we can take care of here.
Let's do it.
I'll take care of the lockdown. You get down to the Normandy and tell Joker to stand by.
Now, we are not teleported back to the Normandy immediately. Instead, we can make our way over there on foot. That will also allow us to ride the CSEC elevator up to the docking bay, and let's quickly skip ahead to that ride, as it will conclude the whole negotiation assignment from earlier.
Treaty negotiations between the Alliance and the Solarian Republic have finally concluded. Solarians praised the openness and flexibility of Alliance negotiators in pursuing a deal that benefited both sides. The deal was brokered by new Alliance negotiator Thomas Kent after his mentor Elias Keeler withdrew, citing health reasons.
So it seems like the negotiations did have an agreeable outcome after all, even though Keeler himself was not present. Now, it can be argued that letting Keeler run the negotiations is the better choice from the Alliance's perspective, but on the other hand, his assistant managed to broker a deal that helped the Alliance as well, while at the same time improving relations with the Solarians. And long term, I think that is worth a lot more. In the meantime, we have made it back over to the Normandy, which we can now enter and watch Anderson take care of overriding the lockdown.
Stand by, shore party. Decontaminate.
Anderson? What are you doing here? I didn't send...
Get us out of here, Joker. Now!
Alright, here we are, back on the Normandy and most importantly back in space, and we're now free to go wherever we please. Just quickly on the side, the other cutscene would have Anderson break into Citadel control, and it would have actually gotten him shot. Nothing life-threatening, but definitely underlining the fact that he was willing to make a huge sacrifice. But after the stunt Udina pulled with the Council, seeing him get punched in the face was definitely satisfying. In the end though, the most important thing is that except for the Citadel, we can go wherever we want now. And we will exactly do that in the next episode, where we will not go to Isla straight away because there is one last assignment that we need to take care of. Which assignment that is, well, you can find that out in the next episode. Until then, I can say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.